Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Red Riot Games YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Eternatus VMAX, the big bad boy of Darkness Ablaze. This deck list is for the Ultimatum to Darkness Ablaze format, also known as the POG format because of the Pokemon Online Global Championships. That will be one of, if not the only major tournament played in this format this weekend. Eternatus VMAX is definitely a front runner for the event. It's very powerful, very reminiscent of Mega Ray Quasi-EX. Its abilities sort of simulate that Skyfield effect. You may have 8 Pokemon on your bench, but you cannot put non-dark Pokemon into play, and the ability doesn't work if you already have non-dark Pokemon in play. Its Dread End attack does 30 damage times the number of your dark Pokemon in play, so this means you're doing 270 damage with a full bench with an Eternatus VMAX in the active. So because of that, we only play Dark-type Pokemon, mostly basics, and we're just trying to fill our bench with 8 Dark-type Pokemon. Our main Pokemon for doing that is going to be this Crobat V. When you play it from your hand onto your bench, you can draw up to 6 cards. So this is a good way to just draw through your deck very efficiently. You want to try to use one basically every single turn if you can, to get as much use out of it as possible. Zigzagoon is the second Pokemon that we play a full 4 count of. When you put it from your hand onto your bench, you may put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. This combos really nicely with Scoop Up Net, which allows us to pick it up and put it back down to put a couple more damage counters around the board. With this, we can knock out things like Arceus Dialga-Palkia, which has 280 HP or 210 or 310 with a big charm. So it allows us to still one-shot those with Eternatus VMAX. It also combos really nice with yveltal-gx. yveltal-gx for 1 energy, its GX attack says, if your opponent's active Pokemon has exactly 4 damage counters on it, that Pokemon is knocked out. This is especially good into other VMAX decks, especially in the mirror match when you're playing against another Eternatus VMAX. You can knock out something like a Zigzagoon, knock out something like a Crobat, and then just use yveltal-gx to knock out their Eternatus VMAX for your last 3 prizes. Next, we have a few tech attackers. We have Alolan Meowth, which does 10 plus 60 more if it is your first turn going second. So this is especially good for knocking out Jirachis, which has exactly 70 HP, and your opponent is usually pretty inclined to leave in the active spot. This basically just puts you a full turn ahead on the prize exchange. Now you're up a prize in the matchup. It can also be good for killing Zigzagoons in the mirror match, another card that is good in the mirror match for swinging that prize trade a bit. Usually your strategy with that is you want to, sometimes it can be hard to pull off, but if you can get that in the active on your first turn and put your energy on your Eternatus V, since Alolan Meowth attacks are free, then you're going to be set up really nicely. Absol, another Pokemon that is good against Jirachi. Jirachi trying to use that Stellar Wish ability to grab some trainers and then just, with an escape board, retreat to the bench into the deck's attackers. Absol increases the retreat cost of base Pokemon by 1, making that Jirachi a lot less mobile, a lot less useful, and forces your opponent to have Switch or Scoop Up Net, which is an extra card that they're going to need, including just something like a Boss's Orders to pull up Crobat most turns. Then we have 3 of these Hoopa. We play 2 of the new Hoopa from Darkness Ablaze. Let me see if I can fix this so we get ones that I actually have. Just got these. We have 2 of these new Hoopa from Darkness Ablaze. Does 90 damage if it moved into the active spot this turn from the bench, and 0 if it did not. So this is a really good way of dealing with things like Decidueye, Zamazenta V. It just does a nice chunk of damage, and it combines really nicely with Zigzagoon to knock out things like Volcanion, Decidueye, and it's a very low cost, quick attacker. Of course, in the early game, you still want to commit to your Eternatus V. It's mainly for those walls, those Pokemon that Eternatus just cannot knock out because of abilities. But it can also be good into other VMAXs. Of course, I mentioned the yveltal-gx strategy, but if you do end up having to hit a VMAX for like 270 damage, you can always finish it off with your Hoopa. And then the other Hoopa, similar thing, just trying to get through those walls, but it does 10 damage plus 20 more for each of your opponent's Pokemon that has an ability, which especially can add up in the mirror match, whether your opponent has 8 bench and full of Zigzagoons and Crobats. But it's also very, very good against Malamar, which is something that's been getting a little bit of talk about it lately. Things like Lost March, a lot of single prize attacker decks, even something like Baby Blacephalon. So that's the entire Pokemon line. We have a lot of interesting options there. And now we need to search out those Pokemon and actually get them onto the bench so that we're doing our 270 damage. So we play 4 Great Ball, 4 Quick Ball, and 3 Pokemon Communication, and 2 Capture Energy. All of these Pokemon just let us search. All of these cards just let us search out more Pokemon. It's pretty simple. You want to just have. You don't want a 4th Pokemon Communication necessarily, because if you have Pokemon Communication and you're using it, that means you already have a Pokemon in hand. It might not be the right one. But you just want to play a lot of Pokemon search options to make sure that you can fill your bench efficiently. Our energy count, we do, like I said, we play the 2 Capture and we play just 7 Dark Energy. You might want a 10th Energy, probably would be a 3rd Capture over the 8th Dark. But right now, 9 has been fine for me. I don't normally whiff attachments, especially with the consistent supporter line. 9 has been a good number for getting attachments every turn. I mentioned the Scoop Up Nets, but we also play 2 Switch and 2 Air Balloon. Just having lots of mobility it makes it especially helpful for trying to use the Hoopa's attack, since it needs to come active that turn, and trying to use Spoil the Fun on your first turn. And then we play 4 Research, 3 Marnie, and 3 Boss's Orders. A nice, very simple, straightforward supporter line. We don't play any Great Catcher because we can usually afford to use Boss's Orders as our supporter for the turn, since we can use Crobat as our draw card for the turn. This deck is one of the better ones at actually thinning your hand down to a very low hand size, so you can draw lots of cards with Crobat V. And then lastly, we just play 1 Black Market Prism Star. This is our stadium of choice. There are a lot of matchups where your opponent is playing good stadiums, like Thunder Mountain, and even Wondrous Labyrinth is seeing some play right now. So Black Market is important, just to have any stadium really, to bump those. However, of course, because there are so many stadiums in this format, you might not get use out of the Black Market Prism Star a lot of games, but when it does stick, it is very powerful to deny that 1 prize from your opponent. So without further ado, I will get into some games with the deck. Okay, so first game with Eternatus V, we're going to pick heads. I always choose heads. Looks like we lost the coin flip. We want to go first with Eternatus pretty much always, but it looks like my opponent's going to let us, so that's great. Kind of makes it a little bit awkward now that we started Eat, Blow, and Meowth. Actually, our hand's really bad for going first. This would have been a much better hand going second, so I guess my opponent made the right call, but overall we do want to go first. Let's see if we hit off this Great Ball. Okay, so we ended up hitting Eternatus V off the Great Ball anyways, so didn't end up mattering. We are completely fine going first. Let's Capture Energy. Maybe just another Eternatus V. I could also grab an Absol, because it's playing against Zacian, Lucario, Metal, and they always play Jirachi, so I think I'll actually just grab the Absol. And then pass. Our hand's pretty good, honestly. We just attach Dark Energy, Eternatus, and Professor's Research. Of course, I mean, if this Lucario Metal stays active, and we can knock it out if we can knock it out on our second turn, that would be fantastic. Knock it out before it even uses Full Metal Wall. Because once it uses Full Metal Wall, we will not be able to one-shot it. We'll need Zigzagoon Pink and stuff like that, especially if it gets a Metal Frying Pan onto it. I mean, right now, even if he gets a Metal Frying Pan on it, probably wouldn't make too much of a difference, because if we do manage to fill our bench to 8, the odds are that some of those Pokemon are Zigzagoons. Okay. That's actually a pretty good spot for one-shotting this guy, actually. You can go ahead and grab 2 Zigzagoon right off the bat here. Ooh, but he's going for the Full Metal. Wow, okay. Wow, I don't even know what to think about that, but I think we're just gonna have to set up for like an yveltal-gx play. I'm gonna grab the Eternatus VMAX though right now, just because it's very important that we have a full bench. We need 8 bench spots to make the deck work, basically. The deck will not, we're definitely not going to be able to Doom count without a bench that size. Okay, let's go Eternatus. Didn't really hit anything that that helpful. I don't know if I want to bench this, because then I still need a lot of Zigzagoon pings. Maybe, you know what, maybe I just two-shot this thing. I think that's the safer play here. I think I'm just going to go for the two-shot with this forward state. So we'll just hit with Draydon. I didn't want to Marnie or Research here, honestly, because he only had 2 cards in hand, and didn't seem necessary to Research, because I'm not really looking for anything more this turn. I mean, I guess Boss's Orders could have been good, but I assume I won't need it, because he's not going to set up a Zacian out of nowhere. And if he did, then I'll just one-shot it anyways. Let's see, it's a Keep of Toughness on it. Now this is really good for us. So we just discarded down to 0 cards in hand just for Berserker, and now I'm going to knock him out next turn. But we only did 130. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, yeah. Our damage is reduced by 60. Oh, we had 120 plus the 10 from the Zigzagoon thing. So yeah, our damage is reduced by 60. But we're still knocking him out here with what we have on board. Let's just, I guess I'll just Great Ball. Grab another VMAX. Yep, I do have another V on board to evolve. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw some cards then. Nice, so we can get another Dark Energy onto this Eternatus VMAX, and then I will just Draydon for the knockout. Yeah, but it doesn't really have anything going on here. Lucario Elemental can be kind of an awkward matchup, but it's pretty 50-50. It's just that they do have a way to make you not able to one-shot their Zacians, which can be annoying, but he doesn't really have anything going on, it seems like. So, and I do think it's not unfavored. It's just they can give you some trouble, especially if they play like Crushing Hammers and hit heads in the early game. Now, this is really weird play from him. I don't know why he moved up the Zacian if he was just going to end Trumpet Swords, because he just gave me 2 prizes on it, basically. Nope. Oh yeah, looks like he conceded. So yeah, we just ripped through him with raw power. He didn't really have anything going on, but even if he was attacking here and there, I mean, what could he really have done? Okay, so we'll get into the next game. Okay, so we're going to call heads again. Lost the coin flip on the heads again. We'll see if our opponent chooses to go second again. And he did! So, okay, so both of our opponents, exact same thing. We're going to open Hoopa this time. Hoopa's fine. We have a Scoop Net in hand. But, once again, our hand is not very good. Maybe we'll top deck out of it again. Because, yeah, I mean, this is even worse. Because we don't even have an energy. Oh, it looks like we might be up against Phalanx V2. That's what I'm assuming based on his hand. Twin Energy, Fighting Energy, and Keep Toughness. But he mulliganed 5 times. So yeah, we got the Eternatus. Wow. Okay, so yeah, 5 times. So I'm actually just gonna set this thing up for a potential Zigzagoon or yveltal-gx play in the future. No, and I'll just go ahead and do the full thing. Put 4 damage counters on it, and that way I can try and Crobat this turn. I want to get an energy down. I think that the Black Market could be important in this matchup, so I don't really want to burn it. I'm just going to grab Crobat, and I'm going to go ahead and retreat and then switch back into Hoopa, because I know that Hoopa is what I'm going to be wanting to leave in the active this turn. And we'll just Crobat for 3, and hopefully we can get an energy. Capture energy would be best. Ooh, no energy though of any kind. So that's just going to be a pass. We don't need it too much because like I said, we're kind of going for the yveltal-gx play. But we're going to need the energy on that Eternatus eventually, that's for sure. Great Ball for Phalanx. Okay, Bird Keeper, that's very good for him. So he's just looking for like capture energy. Yep, he got it. Assume he's going to grab... Okay, so he's going to be able to get the full 4 Phalanx V on his bench this turn, it looks like. Which means that we will not be able to knock out this Phalanx in one hit with a Hoopa because of the damage reduction ability with the Phalanx. Does 20 less. It may seem awkward to use the Eternatus VMAX here because of the prize exchange, but like I said, I mean, we're very reliant on having that 8 bench. I mentioned that last game, I think. Nothing really good to grab off this Great Ball, to be honest. Maybe I'll grab Absol. Honestly, with this hand, I don't even know. none of the Pokemon that we have right now are very useful, to be honest. I think I'm going to bench the Absol. Play... I think maybe I'll just try to stall out for a turn with the boss's orders. Okay, he's giving us the heart, so I assume he just has Bird Keeper, but that's fine. At least it means he didn't use boss's orders this turn. So it's not a big deal. He's very excited about the prospect of using boss's orders, I guess. But yeah, not a big deal. Because we didn't really have anything going on anyways. I'm going to bring up Zigzagoon, because we're going to want to scoop up net that anyways. Ooh, did not want to draw the scoop up net yet though. So I think we're just going to scoop up net into the other Zigzagoon. And I'm going to go ahead and put a damage counter on another Phalanx V. I'll bump his Stadium with Black Rocket Rhythm Star, and then I think I will bench the Hoopa. Maybe I'll bench both Hoopa. And we'll just see what we get, I guess. 90 minus 80, or 60. So we'll only be doing 30. I think I just attach here and then pass, honestly. Yeah, let's just do that. We'll just go for the attack with, we'll just go for the Draydon next turn. The best way to beat rogue decks like this, just hope that their strategy doesn't quite work. That they miss an energy or miss an attack at some point, basically, because they usually will. And he doesn't one-shot my Eternatus anyways. And there comes down the 4th Phalanx V. Ooh, and he finds the boss's orders. That's really bad for us. Holy. He just finds it. I mean, that's fair enough. We'll attach there. I'm going to put Air Balloon on the Hoopa. I think I want to bench the Eternatus because I'm going to need another one anyways. And then we'll just Crobat. No boss's orders, so I guess I'm just going to use Draydon. I mean, he's only going to get to take 2 prizes on my Eternatus VMAX as long as the black market stays, but still not pleasant, that's for sure. He's going for a Great Ball. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's got all those Phalanx. Well, I guess another regular Phalanx I'm sure he's looking for, but Marnie. Okay, boss's orders and Dark Energy are pretty good, but I'm not going to have the bench space as well. Actually, yeah, I'm not even going to be able to bench a Crobat next turn. With it, because I won't have a bench of 8 anymore, which is not good. We're just going to get rid of... Oh, not... We're going to promote that, and then we're going to get rid of both Crobat. Let's see. Wow, nothing. So we're just going to go Dark Energy here, and then... I guess we just... maybe I boss's orders again? Pull up this guy? I think I have to. Yeah, we're just going to do that. Force him to have a switch again. Yeah. Doesn't feel good. It looks like he's going to Bird Keeper again based on his smiley face. Oh no, he just got a switch. I mean, we just don't really have any other option right now. Erica's Hospitality, very good against Eternatus, obviously. So, first game we wiped him out pretty handily. This game, it looks like he's giving us the well played. I mean, he doesn't one-shot Eternatus by any means, so definitely not over yet, but obviously we're in a bad spot. So I'm just going to go Eternatus VMAX, and then I will play Zigzagoon. I'm going to ping this Phalanx. I'm going to put down another Eternatus. I'm going to Great Ball, try and get the yveltal-gx out. I did not get it, so I will just Marnie. Okay, so I have the bench spot for the Eternatus VMAX now. I'm just going to use Draydon, and hopefully he doesn't have the boss's orders. Last time I played against Phalanx, they actually played Great Catcher, so I don't know if he does as well and plays the low boss count, but assuming he has boss, he will just win by knocking out a Crobat. Yeah, so our first game, we kind of wiped out our opponents because they didn't. All they could really do was attack with Lucario Momental, and not obviously not great when I'm just swinging at them with Eternatus. Now, actually, that's a really strange play. Okay, he has another switch. I was gonna say that's a very strange play because Absol means that he's gonna need to attach energy to retreat that, but looks like he's gonna get the Phalanx out, gonna attach energy to it, and he's gonna hit me for 300. So I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna keep trucking along. Do I have another Eternatus VMAX in deck? That I do. But I kind of just want to go for, yeah, I'll just go for another Eternatus VMAX, power it up. I'll capture energy for the yveltal-gx. And then I'm just going to quick ball Marnie away for the Alolan Meowth, because it's not very useful anymore, obviously. And I'll Professor's Research. And we'll see if he finds the, see if he has the energy. And if he doesn't, honestly, our spot's not even that bad, to be completely fair. I mean, it's not great, because we don't have the switch yet. And we very much need it, but for playing against Phalanx, it doesn't feel that bad. As long as he doesn't find the energy, it's going to be the big thing. I think he's debating if he wants to bring up the Phalanx, because if he does bring it up, and he doesn't find the energy, then I just get to knock it out. And then he doesn't have a Phalanx ready for next turn. He's down 2 Twin Energy. I don't know how many his deck plays. I haven't seen any Karate Belt yet. I know some Phalanx lists vary a lot, but some do play Karate Belt. However, he has 2 Cape of Toughness in this card, so that leads me to believe maybe he doesn't play Karate Belt, or he plays a very low count of them. Whoa! He actually conceded. So I don't know, maybe he just didn't have the energy left, maybe he timed out? I don't feel like he timed out. He was very active throughout that game. But yeah, I don't know, that's, we beat Phalanx, I guess. I'm taking that as a win. I'm gonna assume that he was out of some sort of resource, maybe energy, maybe switching cards. I'm gonna assume that he was out of something. And well, I guess we'll hop into the next game. Okay, so we got our next game loaded up. We're gonna take heads as usual. This time we finally won the coin flip. We're still going to go first, though, so it didn't actually make a difference. We open Hoopa. Man, maybe we should start going second. I'm saying that jokingly because you really should be going first with this deck, but I don't know, we're getting a lot of hands where it's like, we don't have a lot going for us as going first. Depending on what we're playing against, we maybe it'll just Great Ball for Crobat and burn the black market, and draw a couple of cards that way, but our hand's definitely not looking good, once again. Okay, Sableye V, so that tells me it's either Mirror or Obstagoon. Eternatus V is our grab off of Great Ball. So I don't really think we do anything else here. I think next turn is probably just the Professor's Research turn. Very weird to not get the energy and the Eternatus any of these games, actually. These are actually I've almost every single game I've gotten the turn 1 Eternatus energy until these recorded games, so very unfortunate. Oh, so it looks like it's got neither Obstagoon or Eternatus VMAX. We got a Sableye Roxy deck, which is very interesting. I mean, it's not bad. That's for sure. I do think that there's a lot of merit to Sableye Roxy variants. Sableye is a very interesting card. Can hit very hard, very quickly. Especially with Turbo Patch, but overall, it's definitely still a rogue deck. Okay, he's using Day Change. I think I'm just gonna Marnie him on my turn. Honestly, I don't want to put down the black market because that seems more advantageous for him than me. Maybe not though, actually. But right now, it seems more advantageous for him than me. Overall, it might be better to have the black market Prism Star in play, since I'll be attacking with a 3-prizer. Maybe he's just debating what to get back with his load search. Oh, and eventually another Sableye. No, maybe that was the debate. Oh, another Zigzagoon Ping. Okay, he's got a few things to do that he was thinking about. Another damage counter comes on to Eternatus. I wonder if he plays yveltal-gx too, because that could be scary. 6-12. Yeah, I don't think he's one-shotting me with, he's not one-shotting me with 4 damage counters with Sableye. He would need the Eternatus to actually do that. My hand's not actually that great. Okay, yeah, looks like he's going for load search. Big misplay on his part, in my opinion, using the quick ball this turn instead of next turn, because now I'm going to Marnie that out of his hand. And he basically just wasted the quick ball and whatever he discarded with it. Looks like he discarded a Sableye. Maybe he just didn't. Maybe that might be helpful to thin the Sableye, but it definitely would have liked to have the quick ball in the deck still, I would think. Okay, he's going to load search for the Erica's Hospitality back. I think I'm just going to bench this and Marnie. I want to save the Scoop of Net, I want to save the Black Market, I want to save all those supporters, and I want to disrupt him, so. This is not as bad as last hand, because I can just Crobat. So it's pretty solid, actually. I don't know if I want to do that, but it feels right. I can always still attack with that one. I definitely want to power up this one, preferably. Ooh, still no energy, man. Deck is not being kind to us today. Yeah, I think I'll just pass then. And we'll see. I mean, he's not one-shotting the Hoopa right now. Or, I mean, I think it's technically a one-shot. He hasn't attacked yet. He just pinged it with Wheezing. So yeah, he can't one-shot it right now. He needs one more damage counter on there. So my spot doesn't feel too bad, but my hand certainly isn't helping to get back in here. No energy, and no Crobat, no draw supporter, and no way to search for the Crobat. So we're really going to be reliant on this top deck. Okay, looks like he doesn't have much either, though. He's just going for a load search. Probably grabs a Roxy. Maybe the research. Yep, so he's grabbing the research. Let's hope we can top deck. Black Market, that's not very helpful here. So I'm just going to pass. Still no energy, still no draw supporter, still no Crobat, still no out to Crobat. So it's an uphill battle here. He's going to get to research here. Hopefully he doesn't really have anything else. He didn't even have an attachment last turn. Yeah. Looks like he's going to have to research, which could be awkward for him. Looks like, I think he discarded Ditto Prisms that day. No, it was the Turbo Patches that I was saying, I think. Down 2 Turbo Patch, Scoop Net, 2 Switch. We could see a situation where he just runs out of resources later in the game, but for now he's fine. If I were him, I think I'd load Claws again, since he's not knocking me out anyways, but or load search. But it looks like he goes for the Crazy Claws. I'm gonna go ahead. I top decked, so I'm not sure. Honestly, I think I'm gonna just attack with Hoopa. Yeah, I'm just gonna attack with Hoopa. That seems like my best way to actually get a knockout here. Because we do 70. Yeah. Yeah. We do 70, and then we can use 3 Zigzagoon pings and do 70 again to knock this thing out. So, as long as he doesn't find a way to knock out the Supa, he would need 2. I mean, he didn't even have 1 ping last turn, so hopefully he doesn't. He's down 1 Scoop of Net. Hopefully he doesn't have the Roxy double Wheezing or something to knock out the Hoopa. And if he doesn't, then we're in a really good spot, in my opinion. I mean, as good as a spot we can be with the current board state. Yeah, so we're going to be able to knock him out here. We're going to take 2 prizes. Hopefully we top deck an energy. But if we don't, I mean, the prizes should help smooth. Hopefully the prizes help smooth things out at least. We did get an energy, so I'm actually just going to attach it to this Eternatus VMAX, since I don't want to ask for too much here when my hand has been dead for a while. I don't want to have to ask for a second Eternatus VMAX. Although if I did have one, I would have, of course, rather use it on the evolve into the fresh one and attach the energy there. But yeah, here we're just going to knock out this disable IV, Evil Admonition. This is where the Evil Admonition Hoopa comes in handy over the Darkness Ablaze Hoopa. Just not having to find a switching card to do that, to attack with it over and over again. Especially into something like Malamar, where they're probably not going to be able to knock out the... probably not going to knock it out after you use it the first time, so... Okay, so we're just going to see Crazy Claws here, most likely. Yep, okay, he's actually going to Crazy Claws the bench guy. I don't think he's knocking it out yet, though. Oh, maybe with 5 pings, though. Yeah, that's definitely got to be knocking it out. I think that's doing 310. Plus the 50 that's already on there, so 360. But yeah, he would have been, I think he would have been 60, or, not 60. 40 short, had he not gotten the Scoop Up Net. But, I mean, he did have 3 Scoop Up Net left. Now, this would have been a nice reason to have the Black Market's Prism Star in play, but I don't know. I didn't know he had the boss's orders, so maybe I should have. Yeah, maybe I should have put the energy on the other one just because I knew he had boss's orders. But hindsight is 20/20. I think I might put the Black Market Prism Star in play, just because I don't feel like he's going to have a lot if I knock this out anyways, so not being able to take as many prizes might not be a big deal. But maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't. I mean, the Spike Mouth isn't really hurting me too much here. I just kind of want to reduce his prizes as well. Select the Pokemon to discard. We're going to get rid of the Crobat. That'd be the easiest way for me to take another prize. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna play the Black Market. I think I'll save it still. I don't know if it's good in this situation. I could keep digging here, but I don't know if I need to. It might just be better to Evil Admonition. Because I could have Scoop Up Net the Zigzagoon and then Pokemon Communication the Zigzagoon away for Crobat V, but I'm not sure what I'd really be looking for at this point, because I don't want to VMAX out yet, I don't feel like. And he doesn't have too much going on. Now, is it possible for me to... Okay, it's definitely... I have 1 Scoop Up Net and 2 Zigzagoon in deck still. Well, the Scoop Up Net's in hand, but... I mean, it's definitely possible for me to do the same thing of hitting 3 Zigzagoon to knock this out, but it's going to be difficult. I'm going to have to Scoop Up Net the Zigzagoon, Pokemon Communication it away for a Crobat V, attach the Air Balloon somewhere, and then draw up to 6, and then hope that I can find Eternatus VMAX, and then find a way to get all 3 of my Zigzagoons back out. And that's if... well, actually, now I only need 1 Zigzagoon ping, so I definitely have to knock out if he doesn't knock me out. He's going to need Roxy Double Weezing here. Evolution Incense probably grabs Weezing. Interesting that he also play Evolution Incense Ever over Pokemon Communication in his deck, when he clearly plays a lot of Pokemon. Maybe not too much. Okay, Erica's. So double Scoop Up Net would get him the knockout here. But he's still got 16 cards left in his deck, so it's not very likely that he has both of his Scoop Up Nets in hand. It's very possible, because he has a big hand, but not likely, I don't think. Okay, yeah, he's just load searching. He might not even have 1 Scoop Up Net, but I wouldn't bet on that, because I mean, I don't think it'd be the right play anyways to Scoop Up Net Zigzagoon just to do 70 damage. Definitely would be a waste of a Scoop Up Net. Okay, so he's just going to load search for Roxy. 20, 40, 60, 80, 90. Plus 7. Yeah, so we do have it. I'm not even going to risk it by digging for the Crobat. I'm just going to put the Zigzagoon back down and Evil Admonition. And I'm going to try to knock out the Dene with Eternatus VMAX next turn. Hopefully we get some draw cards off the prizes. There's Crobat. There's Zigzagoon, so we can Pokemon Communication with Zigzagoon for Eternatus VMAX, and then use Crobat, well, after Boss Orders and Air Balloon. Might even burn both Pokemon Communications. Very good spot. And this Unified Minds Hoopa has carried us a long way. Okay, another Turbo Patch coming down. Doesn't really matter, because if I knock out this active Sableye, I'll win anyways, so he's never going to need to power up a 4th Sableye. I might not even go for the Boss Orders, because I need the same amount of Pokemon to play. So I might just Crobat, and then that way I can still draw a Transporter. Probably the better play. Only 1 energy in discard too. All my Scuba Nets though. But it doesn't really matter at this point. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 2, 10. Yeah, so once I bench, I mean, even without the Crobat in play, I'm already doing enough. Especially if it doesn't knock me out. If it doesn't knock me out, I mean, actually, if he doesn't knock me out, then I won't be able to. Oh no, I will. I'll still be able to eat Pokemon Communication for Eternatus and then use Crobat. Man, he's really debating where to put this energy, I guess. I don't know. He says put it on the active Sableye. And then, oh, I think he must have timed out there. And I think he conceded. I mean, I would have very likely won that turn anyways. So, we didn't hit the most exciting matchups, but we played against Lucario Metal, Phalanx V, and Sableye Roxy. And we did manage to go 3-0 against those decks with Eternatus. I think, obviously, we didn't hit the big decks like ADP Zacian and Baby Blounds. Baby Blounds, I think, is pretty unfavored. ADP Zacian's pretty favored. Vikavolt is pretty 50-50, depends on how it's built. Pigrom, I think, is a pretty good matchup. And other Zacian variants are pretty 50-50. So, deck's very good, definitely works. We did have some consistency issues at those games, but I don't think that's, based on my testing, that's pretty rare. That was a rare streak of 3 to have those kind of slower starts. But we did manage to come back from them. But yeah, the deck normally is very consistent, very streamlined. I think it's a very good play. So I'm going to go into a few other potential inclusions in the deck. And just explain why and when you might want them, especially because, if you don't like the list, there are a few other ways to build Eternatus right now. So here I've got pulled up a little list of all of the cards that I think are worth at least considering. Not all of them are great, not all of them do I plan on ever testing, but all of them I think should be on your mind. All of them are worth knowing that they are possible inclusions in the deck. I'll start with the Pokemon. We've got Alolan Grimer. I think, so there's also the Alolan Muck that discards items from the top of your opponent's deck. That can be a useful card, but mostly this would just be Alolan Grimer, and this would just be maybe a 1-of, maybe a 2-of. If you go second, you can open it and just draw 2 cards. It's kind of like playing a Zacian V in something like Blacephalon. If you get it out turn 1, you can draw some extra cards. Or if you just miss your attack, and you can just draw some extra cards that turn. It's not fantastic, but it's something that might be worth it if you notice that you're just needing those couple extra cards. I think especially it is a little bit counterintuitive with Crobat V, especially, but it might be worth it as a 1-of. Darkrai Prism Star, I'll touch on that in a second actually. I'll do yveltal-gx first, because yveltal-gx has the ability to move around your basic energy however you'd like. And if you're playing yveltal-gx, that means you're playing a couple Sneasel, so that means you also get to play this Weavile, which does 50 damage time for each of your opponent's Pokemon that has an ability. It's like a really, really good Hoopa. So Weavile is very, very powerful. But if you're playing yveltal-gx and Weavile, then there's also an argument to be made for Darkrai Prism Star. When you bench it, you get to attach 2 Dark Energy to it. So this is kind of just a way to get extra energy attachments for turn. Maybe if your opponent gets a surprise knockout with like Game Count GX on your Eternatus VMAX, you can use this Darkrai Prism Star go ahead and just suddenly put 2 Dark Energy into play, moves them onto an Eternatus VMAX with yveltal-gx, and start attacking again right away. Next we have Galarian Slowbro. This to me is just kind of like almost like a 5th Zigzagoon. This, if you're playing it, you'd want to make sure you get, maybe play a 3rd Air Balloon, make sure you get the Air Balloon on it, and you're sort of using it to do a little bit of extra damage. It's like Zigzagoon, it helps to get the knockout on VMAXs, it helps to get the knockout on something like an Arceus Palkia. Usually you're not going to get the 2nd damage counter going back into your turn, but of course if you do, that's the bonus. But overall, it stays in play, you promote it whenever you get knocked out, and then you just poison your opponent to get that extra damage counter on their active, basically, and then retreat into your attacker when you're ready to attack. Murkrow is an interesting card, does 10 damage and your opponents can't retreat, so this is sort of just, especially for the Pog Championships, you'll be able to see how many like switching cards are in your opponent's deck, and if you notice they've run out, you can always do something like pull up a Draydon GX and just trap it, and if they have low enough cards in deck, you might just win the game that way, just through deck out. But I actually did test Murkrow for a little bit. I never pulled it off, and so I just took it out of the list. I actually, in the beginning of the video, I hadn't taken it out yet, so I swapped it out for another Hoopa. But Murkrow, I think, is interesting, and if you can pull it off, it for something like the Pog Championships, if you're playing 10 rounds in day 1, and then if you play it in day 2 as well, you might win 1 or 2 games with it, but it's never going to be like, you're never going to use it most games, not even like half your games, definitely not. Now, Pawniard, for colorless energy, your opponent reveals their hand, discards an item card, and you get to choose an item card found there to discard. So this works especially well in combination with Reset Stamp, discard something like a Switch, or maybe your opponent just needs Metal Saucer for game or something like that. They need a Metal Saucer to be able to attack that turn, and maybe they only have 1 left, and they have a big hand, so you just go for the Pawniard. But this is best, in my opinion, in combination in the late game, to go Reset Stamp, Boss's Orders, and then Pawniard to make sure they don't hit the Switch. Just buys you a little bit of time if you need to get extra pings down for the Zigzagoon yveltal-gx combo or something like that. Pawniard can really help you do that. I actually think it's a pretty solid consideration. Purloin is good against, is good to just clean up some things in the late game. If you attack into like a Zacian with a Giant Cape against Lucario Metal, you won't be able to one-shot it, but then you use Cleaning Up later, basically does 50 damage to that Zacian and finishes it off by removing that tool. Same thing, it also works against like Arceus Palkia if they put a Big Charm on. I think usually in that case I think usually in a lot of situations you're going to try to clean those things up with Zigzagoon, but Purloin's another way to do that. Just go ahead and knock a tool off that knock it almost exclusively for those HP increasing tools. So then you knock it off, the damage is already on there, and you basically get to take the knockout with the Purloin. Sableye V is mostly a Zamazenta V counter. You ping the Zamazenta V a couple times and then just Crazy Closet for the knockout, and then it's gone. It's not the most efficient, because if you're playing against something like ADP Zacian, and they've already used Altered Creation, and then their only Pokemon to play is Zamazenta and maybe like a Jirachi, Sableye V is just going to hit it, and then they might be able to power up a Zacian V, and then go ahead and take 3 prizes on your Sableye. But if you are really worried about Zamazenta, and if you're playing Turbo Patch, especially, if you're playing Turbo Patch, I would definitely play Sableye, but if not, it's something you can play to try to counter Zamazenta, but it's not 100% effective. Spiritomb, another card that could be used to counter Zamazenta, and it's just sort of a solid attacker in general. You just put damage counters on it over time with the ability, and then you can dish out a big damage with Anguish Cry at some point. Definitely not as powerful as in its own committed deck with Hustle Belts and Spike Moth Stadium, but it can be a nice way to like knock out a Dedenne in the late game with a single prizer. And now Yveltal has a niche purpose of being able to knock off special energy, but other than that, it has a very, very specific purpose of being able to do 30 damage with Derail to a big Pokemon like a VMAX or something like that, and then you paint with a Zigzagoon and use Doom Count. It just makes using Doom Count a lot easier if you set it up with the baby Yveltal first. I don't think it's worth it in most cases, but if you expect a lot of mirror, this might be something that you play. Knock off Capture Energies early game, and you can set up that Doom Count GX a lot easier. Now, Alolan Persian GX. This is going to be a card that you want to play for the Baby Blounce matchup mostly. Could also have some viability in the Peak Realm matchup, not really, because they have like Bolton V. So this is almost exclusively just auto wins you the Baby Blounce matchup. If you play this and as long as you get it powered up, especially if you can get it, like if you're playing yveltal-gx and maybe you just find the room for a 1/1 Alolan Persian GX, this is a very good way to beat Baby Blounce, which is otherwise a very difficult matchup. I don't know that it's worth it because, like I said, if you're playing Weavile already, then that means now you're playing 2 stage 1s. It gets kind of clunky pretty fast, but it is an inclusion you can play if you just want to make sure that you beat Baby Blounce. Next we have Ariados. Ariados is a cool card. You obviously play Spinarak, and you just, when you evolve into it, it's like a Boss's Orders as an ability on on any evolution Pokemon. So this is going to be good into VMAXs really when you want to just take 3 prizes on VMAX, maybe with Doom Count, and maybe you just set it up with Zigzagoon Pings or something like that, or you hit it with like a Hoopa and then they retreated it. Are you just going to just pull it up? It just saves you having to use the Boss's Order. Like I mentioned with Great Catcher earlier, and I'll talk about Great Catcher at the same time, just a way to kill the Dene quickly or bring the RC State of Palkia. But like I talked about with Great Catcher when I was doing my list originally, you can draw through your deck without using draw supporters pretty consistently by just like spamming Crobat Vs. And so you can normally afford to play Boss as your supporter per turn. But honestly, in our games, you saw a lot of the time I had to play a draw supporter those turns because I used some pretty clunky hands in the games I showcased today. So sometimes you can have situations like that, and Ariados could help smooth that over, where simple Pokemon communication will get you the Gust on the Pokemon that you want to bring up. Acrobike is just a way to sort of be faster. You play like 3 or 4 and just try to draw through your deck faster. If you're playing Acrobike, you definitely have to play Ordinary Rod. You don't want to lose too many Pokemon or too many energy. Your Pokemon resources especially, are kind of limited in this deck. You don't want to lose Zigzagoons, you don't want to lose Crobats. So if you're playing Acrobike to speed it up, you definitely want to play Ordinary Rod, but it still can be a little bit iffy. If you hit like 2 very important Pokemon and they can't find your Ordinary Rod, you could be in a tough spot. Dangerous Drill, allowing you to discard one of your dark Pokemon, discard a tool or special energy attached to one of your Pokemon, kind of like Purloin, but form of an item, so it's not counting as one of your 8 bench Pokemon, but it's a little bit easier to pull off. It doesn't use an attack for a turn, so you're just going to use the Dangerous Drill to knock off same kind of tools, except it can also knock off Frying Pans, can be used for that as well, Frying Pans and Metal Goggles. But the big things are going to be the Big Charm on ADP or Toughness Capes. But yeah, Dangerous Drill, definitely a solid card. It just depends on how many tools you think you're going to play against, really. Reset Stamp I talked about a little bit with Pawniard, but obviously it's just like for Baby Blounce, stuff like that. Stuff that you really need to disrupt their hand, but I mean, it's going to be good against every deck. Just that, sometimes playing an additional Dark Pokemon to increase your odds of getting the full bench earlier is better than Reset Stamp against every deck. Turbo Patch, I talked about this a little bit as well, but it's just going to allow you to power up an Eternatus in one turn a lot easier. I don't think it's necessary. I think that usually you can just afford to sit back and take 2 attachments, but I did miss attachments a little bit today. Turbo Patch can definitely solve that problem, but it just takes up a lot of deck space, so it's up to you. You have to, maybe you want to play a couple, but then it's a coin flip card, so it's like, is it worth just playing a couple? You have to really make that decision yourself. I think if you are going to play them, I'd opt for 4, and I'd maybe try to include Dangerous Drill or something like that as another way to get stuff in the discard pile. But overall, I'm not big on Turbo Patch, but it certainly does make up for missing energy sometimes. There are 3 other stadium options in addition to the black market or instead of the black market: Power Plant, Viridian, and Dark City. Power Plant's one where you'd probably want to add a second, like 2 Reset Stamp and 2 Power Plant. It's cool because you don't play Draydon GX, so it's never going to hinder you in any way unless you're playing like yveltal-gx, in which case don't play Power Plant. But obviously it'll hinder your opponent here and there. I think because Crobat V is in most decks right now, it's not the biggest because your opponent can just use Crobat V instead of Dedenne, but the Dedenne is usually very much stronger ability. It draws you a lot more cards, so there is an argument to be made for Power Plant. Viridian's just going to help you get your energy a lot more consistently. Obviously, always a good thing, but of course, it's also probably the stadium that helps opponents the most, just in general of all stadiums. It's just very, very good for opponents, especially against something like ADPZ or in the mirror, or even in Baby Blounds for them to get an extra energy to help them hit that one shot on your Eternatus. Dark City's one that Dark City is actually probably my favorite alternate stadium. Just giving all of your basic Dark Pokemon free retreat gives you a lot more mobility. If you play it with like Larry and Slowbro, you can retreat around. Even if you just open stuff like the Crobat or the yveltal-gx, they just have free retreat now. And then maybe you can cut down on the air balloon lines. Maybe you play 2 switch into Dark City instead of 2 switch into air balloon. Nanu, I'm not the biggest fan of. Nanu's going to be a card that you really just want to play if you're playing evolution Pokemon. If you're playing Ariados, you can Nanu throw the Spinarak and then pull off the Ariados in one turn, pull off the Alolan Persian in one turn. I'm not a big fan of it. Biggest fan of it. It's kind of slow and kind of hard to pull off because you need to have the basic form already in your discard pile. But it is an interesting inclusion, and it can definitely surprise a lot of opponents, especially doing something like Ariados or Evil Admonition. Weedval out of nowhere are going to be the most surprising ones for your opponent because they're probably not going to be really playing around it. They're like, okay, well, my opponent's got no Sneasel on board. Weevil's probably not coming down. They'll be able to see in your list if you're playing Pog that you play a Nanu, but they're not necessarily going to play around that because it is a hard combo to pull off. Piers is probably one of the cards I see in like 50% of lists, and then of course the other 50% don't play it, like mine. It just searches for a Dark Pokemon and Dark Energy. Just a nice, consistent way to get out another Pokemon, get out an energy. If you have it turn 1, going second, it's going to easily confirm you that Eternatus Dark Energy. You can grab a Crobat with it, so it can always work as a draw spoiler as well. I don't play it because I think it's a little bit too slow. I think it's way better to just be able to go Crobat and Research Armarni in the same turn. You get basically double the cards, but Piers is a nice, consistent way to, like, when you have Piers, you know you're guaranteed to get a couple things. It's like Volkner. I just think it's a little bit weaker than Volkner, a little bit less versatile. You can't do as much with it, and I think in most situations it is better to Research Armarni. But when you do only need a Pokemon, or only need an energy, or only need a Pokemon and energy, Piers is obviously going to be better. And the last card is Hide Energy, just giving your Dark Pokemon free retreat. I'm trying not to play too many special energy because there's a lot of special energy now cards that people have the option to play, like Giratina, like the Yveltal, like Faba against Control. Hide Energy is a very cool card, and you won't be able to use your opponent's Viridians against like ADPZ or if you're playing Viridian. So yeah, I'm just not personally a fan of Hide Energy, but it's very strong to be able to have the mobility. That's why you play Air Balloons. That's why you might play Dark City. That's why you play multiple switches. That's why you play for a Scoop Up Net. So there's a big argument to me for Hide Energy. If I were going to add more Special Energy, I'd probably add more Capture Energy first. But Hide Energy is a very strong card, especially in combination with things like Hoopa. And in general, Eternatus likes to have a lot of mobility because you play a lot of interesting attackers. So yeah, those are all of the additional inclusions, 25 other cards that you can play in addition to the ones that I mentioned and played today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I really think Eternatus is one of my top picks if I were going to be playing the Pod Championships, which obviously I won't be because I'll be partly running it. But make sure to subscribe because I will be covering the decks that I think are the best picks for the event. And I will be covering just some of my favorite decks from the format. Those should all be coming out throughout the week. So that does indeed mark the end of another video on the website youtube.com. Follow me on Twitter and on Twitch, links in the description below, and make sure to check out the Red Riot Games store for all of your Pokemon and other TCG needs. Thank you for watching.